Let's talk about why we're here today. We are here because we are going to do a live walkthrough of workflow automation in TaxDome. And we're going to talk about what that looks like. My goal is that by the time you leave this webinar, you're going to be able to have, number one, download the pipeline that I'm talking about to your workspace and have full workflow automation ready to go for the beginning for tax season. You're going to have that ready. All you have to do is plug and play. But not just plug and play. I want you to understand exactly how it works. And that's what we're going to talk about today is we're going to walk you through the steps of it. We're going to walk you through the automations that are there and the benefits of it. So we're going to walk through all of these different steps. Now, it's not just myself. You guys, for those who hear me speak quite frequently, you guys know me. My name is Ilya. I'm a co-founder and chief product officer of TaxDome, and I'm joined by Peter and Michael Flax. Unfortunately, Sabrina is a little sick, under the weather. She's also got maybe what Peter has. So she unfortunately will not be joining us. But Peter, do you mind just giving a quick intro and pass it off to Michael?
Of course, of course. Hey, everyone. Nice to see you again. A lot of familiar names. Happy to see also new ones, also new names. So for those who are new here, please enjoy this webinar. And if it's something you were looking for, just go ahead and sign up for a free trial. And then our team will reach out to you and get you started. And we have with us Michael. Michael, please.
Hello, everyone. I'm Michael Flax. I own Flax CPA and Business Solutions. We started an accounting firm about 3 years ago, and we primarily serve business owners and do their bookkeeping, tax prep, tax planning, and payroll. And we're implementing a lot for our clients, and we needed a system to keep everything in place and moving well internally and for our clients. So we adopted TaxDome about a year and a half ago, and we've really dove in with both feet, and it's a big part of our day-to-day now, and I'm very, very grateful for it and excited to chat about it.
Appreciate that.
Awesome.
So again, Sabrina got sick, so we wish you that you feel better very soon and also that you can enjoy the holidays. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for the intro, guys. Here's a brief agenda of what we're going to talk about. And again, we'll talk about all these things. I just wanted to, again, lay the foundation of what you can expect today. So the first thing is we're going to just talk about what are workflows, because we use these terms, but sometimes a lot of people are scared of it, and I don't want you to be. And the hint is you already have one. That's a very simple basis, is every single firm that's on this webinar and every single firm that might be watching this at a later point, unless you're a college student learning about accounting, once you've already been in the workforce, you have a workflow. We're going to talk about how does automation play into that, right? Within the workflow, where can you add automation and how that can, how that can benefit you. And then, as I mentioned, we're going to have a detailed walkthrough of a TaxDome workflow that you can download and apply to your workspace and use that as a foundation for this tax year. I'm going to explain, not just me, but we are going to talk about and discuss how that workflow works and really the best practices of all the templates that you're going to get. And we're going to talk about the TaxDome Marketplace, which we're releasing. So that's going to be even not just the template that we're talking about here, but a wider range of templates that you can utilize within your firm. So let's get started, shall we? Michael, Peter, you guys ready?
Let's go.
Ready.
All right. So first thing, what is a workflow? And very simply, every single business has it. And I like using this example of Domino's because we all understand, we've all placed a pizza order. But what happens behind the scenes, that is the workflow. So from the time that somebody places a phone call to the person receiving the phone call, to the person putting in, or the system automatically placing the order and kickstarting it, to the delivery driver being notified where to go, that is a workflow for pizza delivery. But within the accounting, tax, bookkeeping professions, you guys have your own workflows. After all, it's simply a series of steps that you need to do to get your job done, whether it's a tax return, whether it's monthly bookkeeping, whether it's an audit, all of those things, those are things you guys do on a daily basis, right? You guys already have workflows. The only question is it in your head or is it in 5 different systems? Peter? Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So very important to outline here is, guys, like you have already those processes. How to reach out to them, and how to communicate with them. How do I get the client information from them? So those things I sent it. And if you're not using the TaxDome workflows, I recommend to use a flowchart or Post-its and just start from the beginning of a client interaction till the end and just put those post-its next to each other, and then you can also map out your workflow and create it then within TaxDome, which we're going to show you how.
Yep. Yep. And it's once you have a workflow, again, you guys already have it. What you should think about is continually improving it. And Michael, you mentioned you've had your firm for 3 years, and obviously you worked for the Big Four before, I believe, and you've been in accounting for a while. How often and how iterative is your workflow process? And that's the main thing I really want to get across, is that it's not something that you set it and forget it, but it's something you continually look and analyze. And I'm curious your thoughts on this and how you've implemented that within your firm and how you think about it.
First and foremost, we had to first understand what workflows did we want to build. And those came naturally because it was like, what are all the things we have to do? And sometimes those are big things. Those to-dos are prepare and deliver a tax return. That's a big one. A small one is just respond to a client. That's also its own small workflow. And we realized that we can really break everything down into workflows. And then I think how often we are revisiting those depends on the workflow itself. Building it out took a little bit of time, but now that we have the marketplace, that is a huge advantage for everyone who's trying to build workflows now because they're pre-built. But our tax prep, we're definitely revisiting that at least once a year, that workflow. But when it comes to maybe setting up someone new on payroll, we're revisiting that every few months as new challenges come up in the payroll space. Really depends on what the workflow is, but could be monthly, could be quarterly, could be annually, yeah.
And those are all, the actual cadence is going to depend on your business. It depends on how big your firm is, how many departments you have, how many different services you do. So those are all individual to your firm and will vary. But the main thing I want to get across is it's something that every business owner should be doing all the time, right? And that's not just, it's for tax prep, it's for bookkeeping, it's for payroll, but it's also for your marketing. It's for your how you onboard people, how you think about it. For those of you that hire people, it's hard to hire people, and you want to make sure that those hires stick. So you hire somebody, you onboard them, and then you see what went well, what didn't, and you improve upon that. So you're doing this continually. You might just not realize that's really what you're doing. So I want you to feel very comfortable with the idea of a business process, a workflow, and the fact that you should be constantly be thinking about improving it.
And a little bit inspiration, guys. Most of you know that I'm from Austria. We have this German way of thinking, always to become better and better. And there's a sentence, I don't know how it's word for word, how it's translated into English, but word for word translation is, if you stop becoming better, you stop being good. And this is how I personally approach everything. You know, I always want to optimize those things, to think, how can I do this even better than before?
Awesome. Awesome. So let's now, as part of continually getting better, one of the things we want you to make aware of is the workflow automation. That's what we're going to talk a lot about today. So workflow automation can really be a competitive advantage for you and your firm, because the landscape of accounting is getting more and more competitive, partially because there's so much more work being done remotely. So your clients that maybe have been with you, or that you would naturally get all the people in your town or in your area, they're much more likely now to talk to somebody online, much more likely than before. And the more they talk with virtual firms, that you might also be one of those virtual firms. But what it's really doing is it's increasing the competitive landscape. Automation can really help you to set yourself apart, because what it'll do is it'll allow you to have both a better client experience, and that's really what it's about, is that the better the client experience is, and the faster you can get the documents to them, and the faster they can be in and out, so to speak, the happier they're going to be. And you're able to do, the automation helps you leverage that. So that's on the client side. But on the firm side, you're able to have a much better business operation, right? You're able to have better margins. You don't need to hire as many people to do the automated tasks. You're able to scale at a much better and more predictable path because of automation. And then you bring on people to do the actual value add work, maybe prepare the returns, or to do the actual financial advisory, or whatever it is that you're doing, as opposed to being bogged down by operations. So really, automations are something that can really help your firm from a scale perspective, and also delivering that to clients. And Michael, are you using automation in your practice? How do you find this, what I'm saying? Does this ring true or not really?
Yeah, we wouldn't survive without it, frankly. We promise a lot to our clients, so we want to deliver a lot, and we can't really do that without automation. Some certain examples of that are, we have, at year end, we're doing some tax planning for our clients, and we know that this person qualifies for an HSA, a health savings account. We have a templated message, and that message goes out directly after our call that we've had with them. and gives them more information about the HSA. And then they choose, yes, I'd like to speak to someone about this, and then we refer them out to an HSA provider. And we're able to provide a lot of value without that really requiring too much from us because we've built out the automation on the back end. We want to sell a lot of work, obviously, and the work's out there. And the more work we're taking on, if we're able to keep our efforts more or less the same while selling more work, that's our goal. That's golden. And that's what the automation allows us to do.
It's a very interesting point. Not that you only offer that you automate your own services, but you also keyword client experience, that you also combine outsourced services with those automations. So that's something very important to mention here. Yeah.
Great. We've laid the groundwork for, in general, workflows, and I hope you guys are comfortable with that now, and that don't be afraid of that word because so many people are. You guys already have them, you're doing them. And we've talked about the benefits you can get from it, but now we're going to talk about workflow within TaxDome. So before we do that, I just want to have a very brief terminology discussion because, again, TaxDome is so robust and there's so many options in there. I want you guys to just be familiar with the terms that I'm talking about to make sure we're on the same page. So a pipeline is effectively a workflow in TaxDome, right? The pipeline is the business process that consists of multiple stages. So if we were Domino's Pizza, the pipeline would be delivering pizza. That's the thing we're doing, and it consists of multiple steps from getting the call or the app order all the way to the pizza being delivered to the client. Same thing for tax returns. The workflow can be either 1040 pipeline, it could be a tax return pipeline, bookkeeping pipeline. It's the business process, which is broken down into multiple stages. Jobs are the actual things you're being paid for. So the job moves from stage to stage in the pipeline. So again, if we were Domino's Pizza, each client that orders a pizza that says, I want 2 pizzas and a soda and so forth, that's one job that goes through from receiving the phone call to delivering the pizza. Okay, so the job is the actual service, whether it's a 2023 tax return, whether it's the bookkeeping for December, that's the thing that moves through the pipeline. And automations, which we're going to focus a lot on, automations are effectively a template, so something that you guys have in your system that is going to trigger at a specific point in time when the job enters the stage. So pipeline is the business process, job is the thing that moves through that business process from beginning to end, and automations are the things that happen automatically at each step of that business process to save you time and deliver better client experience. Michael, would you say is that kind of explained well, or do you have anything to add to that?
I think when I was new to TaxDome, I think what I could see what tasks were like. Initially, I know what a task is. I'm like, yeah, a task. You got to do this, and I'll assign it to myself, or I'll assign it to my other CPA or my other admin. And tasks were pretty self-explanatory. And what it took me a minute to realize that tasks go within a job, right? We use the pizza example. The job is Michael's order. That's the job, and it's going to move throughout the pipeline. But within Michael's pizza order, at stage 1, there's a task within it. So-and-so has to lay out the bread. Stage 2 it's another set of tasks to apply the cheese. And so the task is within the job. And I realized how the power of jobs. Once I realized that, it really changed how we did things. So understanding that difference between tasks and jobs, I think is important.
Yep, definitely. So yeah, the tasks are the individual steps that are required in order to have that job move along. All right, so let's show how it works. We've talked about automations. So what are automations in TaxDome? Very simply there's a lot of them. Really. So anything that remember, TaxDome is a comprehensive platform for both the firm experience and the client experience. And automations allow you to template and have anything related to either your team, managing your team and managing the workflow be updated automatically, updating your CRM automatically, and from the client side, issuing them to-dos automatically. Right? So sending them a proposal, sending them an organizer, sending them a client task, sending them a message, all of those things can be automated. So the robustness of the automation is both on the client side and on the firm side. And the main thing you have to know is that the way the automations run when the job reaches that point in the pipeline. So as soon as the job reaches that stage, the automations that are there are going to run. And Michael, was that clear to you when you were doing it? Was there something that was unclear that we can maybe help address to other people?
No, this is extremely clear. We got in there and said, okay, we know exactly what's happening here with these automations. And I got to chime in here because I think this is, you had mentioned creating a task for the client or sending a message with an associated task. That is a selling point we use with our clients. We say, look, you're looking for accountability. You're looking to make sure that you got everything done around your accounting and taxes so that you know that you're compliant with the IRS. And so we say, we have this tool called TaxDome where we can set you a task associated with the message. And until you complete that task, it'll send you a reminder every now and then. And selling the accountability of telling somebody, we have built processes around keeping you accountable has actually sold us a lot of work because of that feature. So I'm not sure if you're going to touch more on that later on. I just am excited to bring that up because I think that's been huge for us.
I think you've touched on it great. I actually don't have that in the slide in the presentation as much, but actually there's one thing I do want to address is how, again, remember, why do clients hire you? They hire you obviously for the compliance. That's for many people, compliance is why they hire you. But a lot of what they hire you for is peace of mind. They want peace of mind, and feeling in control is something that especially business owners that you're dealing with, they all want. And by sending them, and you'll notice we'll have a lot of communication of setting expectations, but what you're doing is you're effectively laying out to the client, this is what to expect so that they feel in control. And the same way, if you tell them, hey, anytime we need anything from you, you're always going to know it. Whether it's we need you to complete a signature, whether or not we have specific questions for you, you're always going to know exactly what we need, and it's going to be clear for you how to do that. And obviously, at some point, you will have to reach out to them because this is a two-way. You provide something, you might need information, then they have to do something. But the sheer fact that you're selling to them, you're always going to know exactly what we need from you. If we do, makes them feel in control and puts them at ease versus wondering, where am I in the process? Do I need to do something? Do they need to do something? And that peace of mind is really important.
Not only about new clients, I would also say retaining your existing clients and those expectations you set, and then fulfilling them. It makes you just promise in the beginning something, you fulfill it, and then of course they're going to stay with you. And that's where not only you set the expectation of new clients, but also your existing clients, they see, again, keyword, client experience.
Yep, definitely. So how do automations trigger? Because from templates. So in reality, in any workflow, the templates are the foundation of the workflow. Again, from the pizza perspective, every time when the delivery driver is out, you get a message saying, hey, your pizza is on its way. That's a template that is being sent automatically to the client to let them know what to expect, that your pizza's on its way and you're going to get it in 30 minutes. The same exact way, you can have templates for everything. And if you see, there's an image here of templates for chats, for emails, for tasks. And really that's the foundation of any workflow and any automation, is it has to trigger from something. So it triggers from the template that you set up. But what it really does allow you to do as well is to guarantee process consistency. That's why you want a template. Yes, it saves you time, obviously. But what it also does is it ensures process consistency, because especially as your firm gets bigger and bigger, your staff care less than you do. If we're talking to the firm owners, you guys probably dot your I's, cross your T's on everything. You just, staff are always going to care less than you do, because that's the difference between a business owner and then employees and managers. That's just a fact of life. And the more you can process, the more you can template, the more you can ensure consistency, not just for your third employee, but for your 50th employee and for your 70th employee as your teams get bigger and bigger.
Exactly. You just are in control of the quality, how you communicate and how you work with your clients. And it doesn't matter who in your team works with them. If they use their templates, you just know already a basic quality of it.
So now we're going to do an actual walkthrough of a pipeline, a workflow in TaxDome, and walk you through exactly how it works, because I want you to understand the steps of it. And again, what I'm showing you, what we're going to be talking about here, you are able to download within your workspace. So this template has been added to the marketplace, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but everything we're here, you guys can download and apply to your workspace. So what I'm going to show you And actually, if someone from the team, if you can put that in the chat, just so people see the name of the template that's in there that has been added, so people can already download it. We haven't produced the marketing materials for it yet because we've been more concerned about talking here. But you guys can download the template to your workspace, and I want you to be able to follow along because we're going to explain exactly how it works so that you can customize it to your firm. So the first reason of why you want to, like, why do you want this in the first place, right? We've talked about automation and we've talked about templating processes, but what it also does is it really gives you the status of each job across your firm at a glance. And that is huge. And Michael, I'll curious on your end about this, but the main thing I want you to get across is these are the stages. So let's actually back up because I think I might be rushing ahead. Some people might not be familiar with what this is. So this is what's called a Kanban board. So if you really think about it, it's just the steps. So the vertical columns are the stages in the workflow. And within each stage are job cards. So each of those things is a job card. And so if I'm looking at this at a glance, I know that I have 14 jobs, that little parentheses, 14 next to the first stage text. That tells me I have 14 jobs in the stage of waiting for the proposal. I have no clients that are waiting for an organizer. I have one job that's in prep and so forth. Now, when you have 1,000 of these jobs, or you have 2,000, and when you have large numbers, this gives you the ability to see at a glance exactly what's going on. And you can filter this down because if you have 10 people on your team, you can look at by different team member, what's their workflow look like. You can look at it by job type. What's my bookkeeping type workflow look like versus my tax and so forth. So Mike, from your perspective, from a big picture, you're a manager, you're looking at this. How do you think about this and how do you use it?
Just as a business owner, there's so much going on and you're doing so much. And this is such an easy way to just get a glance of where everything is. And we use this in so many different ways. The tax prep pipeline, just annual tax prep, is a great example of that. We have a business tax prep pipeline and a personal tax prep pipeline that we use. And in tax season, it's Friday night, my employees are done for the week. But I go in there and I just need some reassurance before I can go out that I know where everything stands. And this Kanban style board is just, I can see it, I know where we're at, and 9 times out of 10, it just gives me that peace of mind and it's a great just way to see it in one glance. Peace of mind.
Enjoy the weekend.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Okay. So let's talk about exactly how this is set up. And now there's some questions in here about bookkeeping and so forth. This is our goal here is to walk you through. This template is specifically for tax, but we want you to just understand how it works, because the main goal is to understand how it works. You can modify this and customize, and we have templates for bookkeeping in there as well. But it's not just, we don't want you to just download a template. Our goal is for you to understand exactly how it works, because by knowing how it works and how the nuts and bolts behind it, you're able to customize it and really leverage those automations. So that's the main thing we want you to do, is to understand exactly how it works and go from there. So we're going to look at each stage here and walk you through exactly what happens at each of those stages. So first thing I want you guys to see is this is stage 1. Okay. And what we've done in this pipeline is we have enabled you to have, in this pipeline, in stage 1, we have one automation that is for a trigger automation, which is the proposal and engagement letter. So what's the benefit of this is that as soon as you start the job, and you can do this for 1,000 clients, right? January 1, you're going to select 1,000 clients, 2,000 clients. You're going to send them a welcome email and you're going to send them a proposal. And think of this as really the top of your funnel, right? These are the clients that are not yet engaged. As soon as you start those jobs, you're going to see that these are clients that are not engaged, but I'm waiting for them to sign their proposal and engagement letter. And if you look at this is the beginning of it. So what you're doing is you're sending one item that they have to complete, which is the proposal. And at the same time, you're setting the stages through communication. You're relaying to them exactly how you work, what you expect from them, what they can expect from you. And remember, providing them that peace of mind. So if you notice here, there's 2 automations that are emails, and they are different automations based off of conditions. So your new clients can receive one email and your returning clients can receive a different email. And those are account tags. So Michael, are you using any of this within your workflow, and how do you think about it?
Yeah, we absolutely use tags. We use it a lot with the tax planning strategies that we're using for people. So some people, we know they have a home office. So we'll apply a home office tag to their tax prep pipeline so that they'll get a home office organizer. So when we go and we move it from stage 2 to stage 3, and stage 3 is to send out all the organizers that they need. They'll get their regular tax prep organizer, but because they have the home office tag as well, they're going to get a home office organizer. So that's just one way in which we use it, and they're really powerful when implemented correctly.
Great, great. So yeah, so again, remember, if you're thinking about a top of funnel, these are the clients that have not yet engaged you, but once you've started this, you know that if you have 1,000 clients in stage 1, those are 1,000 people that you're waiting to sign the engagement letter. And guess what? An hour later, you're going to look at that and you're going to see 950 people are in that list because 50 people have signed the engagement letter. And as soon as they have done that and have paid the deposit, because remember, in this pipeline that we have here, that proposal engagement letter has a deposit of $250. Again, you can customize it, you can modify that, but that's what we've set in here within this specific pipeline. So an hour later, when you look at it, and then there's 50 clients in stage 1, 50 clients in stage 2, you're going to know that all of those people have already paid you a deposit of $250 and have signed the engagement letter. Yes, Peter, sorry.
No, I'm just want to outline that it's very important that you guys understand that the template is totally customizable. I don't know if it's clear, but I just want to make it clear that everything you see there, you can change and adapt and add, of course.
Yep, exactly. So our goal here is I want you to understand how it works. I want you to understand the nuts and bolts within it, but you can modify it. So for example, Carol is asking, is a deposit standard practice? We recommend you use a deposit. Again, we recommend it, but every business is different. Every business is different. Michael, do you collect deposits? Is it different for new clients, for returning clients? How do you think about it?
Yeah, all of our clients are on a monthly subscription. 95% of our clients are on a monthly subscription. They just get billed on a monthly basis, but we do the whole kit and caboodle. We're not doing just tax prep. If there is one-off tax prep, we do ask for payment upfront and just say, when you sign the engagement letter, we'll expect 100% payment upfront. And I haven't had too much pushback from that. People have been okay with it.
Actually, but you mentioned the clients that are on a monthly retainer.
Yeah.
Do you collect month 1 when they sign that engagement letter?
Correct.
Do you kickstart?
We collect.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly. So even for recurring, you can kickstart. So in our proposal feature, you can do either. You can have them either do just a one-time payment, which is maybe a deposit. And the reason we put a deposit here is we've gotten a lot of feedback especially for the tax firms. A lot of them charge different clients different amounts. So we put a deposit in, and then later in this workflow, which we'll talk about, where you're going to invoice the balance, and we'll talk about that. But if you have a recurring client, or if you have clients in subscription, when they sign the proposal or engagement letter, you can have automatic authorization to draw down exactly how you would do it in your firm, to have them every month draw down, whether it's ACH or credit card, to go from there. So again, I wanted to give across to understand how it works, but every firm is going to modify it. So for example, you might have clients that are on monthly retainer, they might get a proposal for that. And the clients that are one-off tax clients, they're going to get their own proposal. This is all customizable for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're in stage 2. Remember, you started off Jan 1, you started 1,000 jobs in bulk, and now you're looking at 2 hours later, you're looking at your stage 2. And stage 2 is the clients that have already signed the engagement letter and have paid you a deposit of $250. Now, anytime you look at it, you have the visibility. You can see exactly how many clients are in which stage and what's happening here. For these clients, they've signed their engagement letter. You want them to now provide you with the information. That's what the organizer is. So they have, in this stage, the automations that are triggered. They're able to, you're creating a folder template. So this is automatically going to organize their folders to upload documents into. They're going to receive an organizer, which again, we've included in this. When you download the pipeline, you're going to get all of these templates included with it. And they're also going to receive a message, right? So in stage 1, we sent an email because some of those might be new clients and so forth. Here, we've now moved everything into secure chat because we want you to use that versus email for security reasons. And at the same time, it allows you to create a thread for that job with the client. Now, Michael, are you using chats? Are you steering more towards chats versus email?
Yeah, we started with chats as soon as we adopted TaxDome, and we haven't looked back. We love the chats piece because you can create the associated task for the client with it. You might be able to do the same thing with email. I'm not sure. We use chats with everything. It's secure, and it allows us to really replicate our processes. Yeah.
Great, great. But again, remember, this is, if you think about it from stage by stage, your team hasn't done anything yet. If we think about it, all you've done is you've started the jobs. The clients have automatically received the proposal, they've paid the deposit, and they've automatically received the organizer, and they've received communications this whole time. But no one is monitoring this. No one's touching it. No one is tracking any of this. And that's an important thing that I want to really make clear, is that your team isn't doing anything with these clients yet. You haven't touched them. You haven't even looked at them. You don't have to send them reminders. This is all automatic. The only time when you start looking at them is when you get to stage 3. So these are the clients. Remember, the original funnel was 1,000 clients that you, 1,000 jobs that you started. Out of those 1,000, let's just say it's now January 15th, 200 of them have signed their proposals and engagement letters. They moved forward. So you have 800 clients in stage 1, which is waiting for proposal. You have 200 clients signed, and out of those 200, let's say 100 have submitted their organizer. So you're going to have 800 in the first stage, 800 jobs, 100 jobs who are waiting for the organizer, and that you're waiting for them to complete the organizer, and 100 of them have submitted the organizer. They're ready for prep. Your team is finally able to work, and your team doesn't look at a single client until they get to here. You're not tracking uploads. You're not monitoring where are they. You're not sending reminders. You start on the work once they get to this stage of in prep. And Michael, does this resonate with you and how you think about things, or how do you think about it?
Yeah, and you're exactly right. We don't start a tax return until the organizer's been submitted. We can review it afterwards and say, hey, look, I think we're missing some things. Can you please upload XYZ? But here's the big piece. In the tax prep space, one of the biggest issues is we don't know if we're not using this process, we don't know when the client has submitted everything. Have they given you everything they're planning on giving you, or are they going to give you a document when you're halfway through the prep? And what the organizer does here is we basically say at the bottom of the organizer, is this everything that you have that you need to tell us? And they have to check that box, and then they press submit. And so that way we know we can really go ahead and prepare this, and we're not going to have to redo the whole return for an extra lingering document a couple weeks later. So that was extremely helpful, but this is exactly how we run it. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. And there's a couple questions here I want to address. So first off, you guys everything we're talking about is in the marketplace. So for those of you in the early access program, you have access to this. You can go to the marketplace and download this template and follow along and do with it. And Edgar put in the link, the name of the pipeline that's in there that you guys can download. The description is empty. It just says used video coming used in webinar, and you'll see exactly how it works. And then there was a question from Lori, is this the best practice? You should disregard the other one. The main thing that we want you to understand is how it works. Right. At the end of the day, every firm, and we're going to talk a little bit about what you want to update once you download it, because you want to customize it to your own needs. But we wanted you to understand the best practices from a big picture perspective. And this one is the most recent that's been updated. So this is a great pipeline to use specifically for tax. But again, the takeaway we want you to have is to understand exactly how it works and how it flows so that you can modify it to your specific needs. Because again, remember, you might want to update your tone of voice. You might want to add in maybe some people want an organizer earlier. You're going to understand how it works, and you're going to be able to modify it based off your specific needs. Okay, so remember, we've only covered the first 3 steps of this pipeline, right? But the main thing I want you to take away is the entire customer experience is in one platform. And it's not just the customer that benefits it, but it's the firm as well. This is really a win. So from the client perspective, remember, they're hiring you for peace of mind. This is a key thing I really want you guys to remember. This is what differentiates you, and your relationships and how much they enjoy the experience is going to have a big impact on your client retention. So by providing them clarity of work through the proposal engagement letter, you're setting the stages of exactly how you're going to work with them, what they can expect. There's no inconsistencies. And especially as you're dealing with the guys that are dealing with more businesses, this is standard, right? Proposals, engagement letters, you want to have this, you want to be buttoned up. For the client, we've had a lot of, remember, communication. We started off with the emails, both to new clients and to returning clients, different ones. And then we've moved everything to secure chat. But what you're really doing is providing the client with peace of mind through, they don't know that it's an automation, right? They don't know that. The same way Michael's clients don't know that his HSA message is automated. And that's the tone of voice that you might want to update in your messages to make sure that they reflect your tone of voice. But what your client is receiving communication at each stage, really making them feel at ease that everything is going along on the right path. And they've also received really user-friendly tools between the proposal and the engagement letter of interacting with your firm. So the technology interactions have all been very pleasant for them and easy to use there. Now, on the firm side, you have that clarity. Michael said every Friday he looks at what his team's been up to and he tracks the work and so forth. But really, you have that clarity of what are the status of every job in my company? What's the status across different business processes? How is this department doing? You have understanding there, and you know that at any point you have an easy visibility into that. Security, right? Again, in this pipeline, we have a $250 deposit in the beginning. You can modify it, you can customize it, but that's what we put in here just as a default. But what you have is security. You have money in the door, and you have a signed engagement letter. And if we had a webinar on engagement letters and proposals last week, watch that. The accounting industry is not utilizing this enough, but you should be for insurance purposes, for really just best practices, you should be doing that. And then you also are fielding less questions because of that communication that goes to the client. They're not calling you asking what's going on. You don't have to field as many questions. You don't have to respond to as many emails. You're able to focus more on your work, and you're not touching the clients until they've provided you complete documentation. Remember, the reminding the client, checking the uploads, checking whether a client signed the engagement letter. You're not doing any of that. It happens all automatically.
Something also to mention is about scalability. Most of you see it already, but you can scale your business with this. And with those automations, the workflow and everything, with the same resources you may have today, you can just deal with much more clients. So very important, scalability.
And Michael, how do you think about it when you hire people in terms of the process? How do you onboard them in terms of making them aware of your process and the automations? And how do you do that for a new hire?
For a new hire, we've created these seats in my mind where there's 6 different seats in my firm. We have a tax specialist, we have a payroll specialist, we have a bookkeeping specialist. And so all of our automations are built out with the kind of that seat in mind. Bookkeeping specialist, we'll move it to admin, who moves it to payroll specialist. And so when I'm bringing in people, I know what I'm hiring for, and they know what their tasks are. So my first few times, they know this task has been put on their plate, and there are subtasks that walk them through step 1, step 2, step 3. I'll get on there the first few times and say, all right, you good with these subtasks? Do you understand? And yes, and then they always have those to refer back to. Yeah, we build the firm out in seats and then fill those seats. But yeah, that's how we're planning on continuing to scale. So.
And I'm very happy you mentioned that in terms of these tasks and so forth, because we'll talk about that in terms of routing. So right now we talked about this is the beginning of the workflow, right? We talked about getting the clients in the door, sending them proposals, sending them engagement letters. After we're going to talk a little bit about the templates that you're getting within that, but then we're going to go into more of the actual nuts and bolts, which are the doing of the work, the manager review, the individual tasks there. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit as well. Let's talk about best practices, because again, when you download this pipeline, you're going to get all the templates that we're talking about within it. And if you remember, there was a proposal in stage 1. Now, it's ready, you can use it, but we strongly recommend that you update it to include your own branding, right? So put your firm name into there, put your logo. If you guys have any videos, if you guys have any nice images of your team, if you guys have any customer testimonials, you might want to put those in there, because these proposals and engagement letters support multimedia. So you really want to leverage that so you can utilize that, can put your best foot forward for your client. And then I mentioned the $250 deposit. Update that, right? Because maybe that works for you, maybe that doesn't, maybe you want to remove it. Maybe you want to charge a lot more money. Maybe you want full money up front. Maybe you want to, instead of deposit, maybe you want to have a client sign a monthly retainer for subscription service, which so many businesses are doing, as Michael mentioned. But we want you to understand how it works so that you can modify it to your needs. Same thing with the organizer. So the organizer is that when you download this pipeline, it's going to come with an organizer that's ready-made. Now, people often ask, how should I have different organizers for different scenarios? In my opinion, I think you should have one big organizer. And the reason I think that's better is it becomes, again, much more scalable and easier for you to update over time. And instead of you having to manually think when a client says, I have a rental property, I'm going to now send them a rental organizer. I think that's called Schedule E. You're the tax person. You can correct me if I'm wrong there. But instead of sending them a Schedule E organizer, that can be automatically opened within the same organizer for the client. The experience is so much better. Instead of saying, oh, great, now go complete this other form. When they say I have a rental property, it's going to open up a whole thing. Okay, tell me about your rental property, right? That's what you would do in a meeting in person, right? You wouldn't say, okay, let's come back next week and we'll talk about your rental property. You'll probably just talk about it right there and then. So by having one organizer with conditions, it's going to grow over time, right? It's going to be really big because, again, the tax code is big, or the amount of information you might want is big, but it allows for a really seamless experience for your client of having everything in one place through conditions. So, Michael, do you use any intake forms or organizers within your firm? How do you use this?
Yeah, first and foremost, we use organizers like all day, every day, and we absolutely use the conditions. I think that the trouble as clients is, or as accountants, is we want to get the information from our clients and we want to get all of it. We need everything, that we don't want any shortage of information, but we want to do it efficiently. And once you go down a certain rabbit hole, if the answer is no to this, we can just knock out 3 or 5 other questions that we don't need to ask them. And so my team and I, we spent, probably a month and a half building this from scratch, this tax prep personal organizer that goes through every source of income, every deduction, and based on your responses, it rules things out or brings things in. And it just starts with a few simple questions, but then if they answer yes to the rental, we have a whole new rental thing. And then, did you use your vehicle for your rental property business? Oh, you did? Okay. Then a new auto deduction set of questions comes about, and just have never had one client say, this took me too long to fill out my organizer, or this wasn't a good experience. It's been all positive experience, which I was expecting some sort of pushback, but there's been none from clients. It's a game changer.
So sounds like a good template for the marketplace.
Yeah, we'll be posting it. We'll get it up there before December 31st.
Good.
Yeah, I'm
Awesome.
very proud
Awesome.
of it.
And that's a key thing. We're putting in one template here that we're talking about, but Michael's team has their template. Especially, I know if you're in California, I'm currently in California personally. I know that California tax code apparently is quite cumbersome. And I know that preparers outside of California don't want to deal with it because it's so cumbersome. For those of you that are in California, then you might want to make a lot of questions about California that are not relevant to Minnesota and so forth. But my main thing I want you to understand is the flexibility of it, the user friendliness from a customer perspective. It really is a huge difference. Like a lot of people saying, well, I want to upload the organizer from the tax software. Your client doesn't want the organizer from your tax software. They don't want this clunky PDF it's 10 pages long that feels like you're in a doctor's office from 1984. They don't want this. I don't want to speak for it. Mike, what's been you've seen both, right? You've been in this industry for a while. I don't want to give my opinion too much.
Yeah, when I was at the Big Four, love my time there, but the biggest complaint we were getting from clients was, you asked me so many questions from this organizer. It took me 2 hours to fill out, and half of this information I gave you last year. And even the Big Four didn't have a set of conditions that we could implement across the board. And we worked really hard to make sure that it was a better experience for our clients. But you're exactly right. And one last thing I'll say is, in that proposal, when you first send it out to people, we did a little 30-second Loom video for our clients to show, just sharing our screen from a client view, saying, this is what you can expect out of tax season. You're going to have a nice organizer, and if you click this, then this will happen. If you click this, and then you press submit, and your job's done. And showing them visually what it is has gotten great response.
So I think you touched upon annoyances of organizers is retelling information that I've told you before, right? That's a common thing. That's what the pre-fill. So you see here, these are the pre-fill toggle. I think it's huge. I think it's super impactful from a client perspective. Most questions, if you think about it, out of that 250 question organizer that you might have, a huge percentage of them should be pre-filled. So once a client does this for you once, they're going to have the option of completing it so much faster. It's going to really save a tremendous amount of time. And you can control which questions don't pre-fill. So for example, if you have a question on what did you sell the property for? If you sell, you don't want that to pre-fill naturally, because that's going to be a one-time thing. But things such as your property address or your information about your spouse, your dependents, other information, that's going to change. That's going to change over time. So you want to use that. And then two other things I want to just mention here is updating CRM tags. Michael, you mentioned in terms of HSA and so forth. When you ask client questions, you can use the organizer to also prompt them of additional services. Are you interested in so-and-so? Would you be interested in a tax planning projection at the end of the year? Would you be interested in so-and-so? And then you're able to update your CRM to flag those clients so that you can then follow up with them with those additional services. Are you using anything like that within your company? I know you mentioned for the HSA, but are you using it within updating the CRM tags?
Yeah, like I said, our tags right now could be better, admittedly. We're just using them more for our tax planning strategies. In terms of upsells, we haven't really implemented that, but you're exactly right. You could certainly do that. It's really just up to you, and probably something we'll consider in the future. But yeah, right now, mostly just tax planning and some compliance stuff, like how their business is structured. Do they have kids? Are their kids on payroll, HSA eligible, etc.? And that's really the extent of what we have at the moment, but it works the same no matter what.
But it's the flexibility that I wanted to highlight. How actually you use it is going to depend on you and so forth. I just wanted to give a few use cases of how somebody might want to use it. And exactly, they're a way for you to take the information from the client and update your CRM. And actually, sneak peek there, we're currently working on a feature to actually be able to update the content of so this updates the tags, but we're working on a feature that's going to allow you to update the fields within an account or with a contact from the information from the organizer. So you'll be able to import all those answers directly into your CRM for the custom account fields, for the contact fields, and so forth. That's going to be coming, and we're super excited about that. And then one final thing I wanted to add in here is you mentioned videos. I think videos are a great way. Again, the more organizers, you're not meeting with the client, but a lot of times you're asking them questions. Remember, you guys are tax pros, you're accounting pros, your clients are not. And by putting in videos that say, hey, why are you, and a lot of times they say, why do you need this information, right? Have you guys ever been asked that? Like, why are you asking me this question? Why do you need this? And by putting in videos, which you can embed videos now directly into the organizer, you can add a really great informational experience for them so that they know why they're answering the question, why they're being asked some question that to them doesn't make sense. But you're saying, hey, if you give me this information, I know you might have to think about this, but I might be able to save you a boatload of money. They might be a lot more willing to give you that information. And it makes your organizer much more interactive. Okay, so let's move on. Michael, we talked about this in terms of routing to your team. Through the automation, you are able to route the tasks that are within each stage to specific members of your team. So the top one I wanted to highlight is the update job assignees. So this is an automation. So as the job moves from different stages, the person who's assigned to the job might change over time. So in the example we're talking about, it's going to go from an admin to a prep, to a preparer, to a reviewer. In your perspective, how are you doing that within your firm? And then if you can also touch upon if you're using that second thing of assigned task to job assignee, if you are, touch upon that. If not, I will address that afterwards.
Okay. Yeah, it is such a beautiful thing when I'll have, let's say, like a year-end tax planning call with a client, and then I say, look, we know that you need to do this. We need to do this home office reimbursement, or you need to give us your health insurance to add into your W-2 for the S Corp, whatever that may be. And we send out, we get them in this pipeline for health insurance reimbursement. I put it in there in stage one, and it gives automatically that task that we created within that stage is automatically goes to Kate, right? And then Kate does those tasks. And when she's done, she presses complete, and then it goes to Callie, and Callie does her task, and then Callie presses complete, and it goes to me, and it says, can you review all this? And my task is just, it shows up on my plate. I log into payroll, and I say, yep, that looks good. My task is complete. And there are quite a few pipelines now with my team learning all of this so well, where it goes from A to Z without me touching anything. And gosh, it's a nice feeling, and it maintains the accuracy, maintains the the same processes that I want to implement because I built it, it automatically goes team member to team member. And as soon as they press complete, it automatically moves. Assigning task to job assignee. Yeah, you can, when you create the job template itself, you can toggle that on, and then there will be an assignee to the job. And then if it shows up on their plate, is my understanding with that.
Well, the big benefit of that is that you don't have to have different templates for each member of your team. So the job, if you create a job, when you create the job, as the job moves, as it goes on, the tasks being created, you only need one task template of, say, e-file return. But if the job assignee at that time is your admin, that task of e-file return is going to get automatically assigned to your admin at that time. You don't have to have a different one for each person. So using these two things, you can have the job change assignees over time, and the person being assigned to the task can happen automatically as well.
You guys always come out with good updates. I know I really do mean that. It is always progressing and continually making our lives easier.
I'm happy. Yeah, I'm happy because a lot of times that's why we have to talk to clients so much. And that's why we do it so much, is because by talking to clients and learning about their problems as they're doing it, we continually iterate and improve the same way that you should be iterating and improving on your workflow. We're doing the same thing within our tool.
And please continue talking to us, please.
Yes, please give us your feedback. That's how we get ideas and continue to get better. So now we're going to talk a little bit about missing information, right? So we talked a little bit about, in the beginning, remember, client has signed a proposal, paid you a deposit. They've completed an organizer. You've started prep. Now let's say you have some missing information. So Michael, how are you currently doing this within your firm with the missing information now? And if you can talk a little bit about what's on the screen, explain it as well to the people in accounting words, not for myself.
Yeah. Now, again, Kanban screen, I want to know which clients do we need information from, meaning the ball's in their court. And first and foremost, just having that is helpful to see just the stage that they're in. When it comes to the stage before where you're moving it into missing info, what we do is it triggers a task to our admin to go and send a message to the client saying, hey, we're missing this information. Okay, so task gets triggered to admin to say, we're missing X information. The information that we need the admin to send, or the questions that we need to ask, our tax preparer leaves that in the job notes. So it stays within the job, so it doesn't go anywhere. And our admin just copies and pastes that into the message to the client. Now the client gets that message and it says, Dear John Smith, we need 1, 2, 3, and 4 from you. And there's an associated task with that message. And it says, I have given this information back to Flax CPA. And John's going to write out his responses, and then he's going to click that button that says, I have responded to Flax CPA. And automatically, when he clicks that button, it then moves to the next stage, which says missing info received. And the CPA gets a task again to say, okay, restart the return or implement this and keep the return moving. That's how we've done it with jobs and tasks. And our clients have been all over it. They've been great with checking the box. And if they don't check the box, we'll see the message come in and we'll just check it for them. And then it just moves.
That's actually something that we've highlighted as, and people have given us that feedback that what if my clients don't check it and so forth. So that's actually something we're working on right now as well, of an improved function of requesting that information from the client so that there's even fewer steps there. So exactly what you highlighted, we're working on make that even shorter. But the main thing I want you to get across is that as soon as you have information, you can itemize that list for the client. They'll know that information is missing from them. And as soon as they provide you that information, that job will automatically move to the next stage. So the same exact way is you're not tracking, hey, did they give me the information? Did they not? It's going to happen automatically. Yep. And in this pipeline that you're seeing, we have this created. So in this instance, let's say the client goes into missing info. They're going to be sent that message with the chat. As soon as they provide that, they're going to skip over the need extension because this is just assuming that they need extension, it's going to go, if they're also flagged as needing extension, it'll go here. But we're going to assume that they're not. They're going to go straight to prep post missing info, which is exactly the same thing as you highlighted in your workflow of missing information received, prep, and so forth. And what it's going to do is it's going to automatically remove the flag of missing documents, so that client is not going to be flagged that anymore. And the preparer is going to be assigned again to get back to finishing the work. So using this automation and conditions, you can create this flow of what happens. Now, what's actually coming in 2024 is we're going to be able to also work on even smarter routing so that jobs are not just going to go left, but they're going to be able to come back to a specific spot. So you won't even need a second prep. The job will come right back to in prep as well once we do that. So really cool information coming here. All right, so let's walk through the end of the workflow. We talked about the beginning, which is obtaining the information. Then we've talked about the middle of it, which is maybe you need missing information from the client. Now we're going to go to the end, assuming everything is smooth sailing. At this point, the draft has been prepared. Your preparer has prepared the draft return, and it gets sent to the manager for review. Now, if you notice that task, as you mentioned, Michael, the manager, this is the first time they're seeing this. They're going to be only now assigned this task of do the manager review, and you can put subtasks in there to ensure the specific things you want them to review and so forth, is how detailed as you want it to be. And through the update account access, the access will be given to the manager only then and removed from the preparer so that it doesn't clutter up their workspace. And finally, the client can receive a message, again, updating them within that same thread of saying, hey, just so you know, your job is moving along. Because again, you want to provide them that assurance. You want them to feel warm and fuzzy of exactly what's going on. How are you doing this in a similar fashion? How do you think about this?
Yeah, I absolutely am doing this in a similar fashion, especially with the create task. What I absolutely love is the send message, because it's just a quick 2-sentence. As soon as it gets into this stage, it automatically just sends the client a message saying, hey, this is an automated message. And they're okay with that. This is an automated message to let you know that your tax return is now in our review process. And that is cut down significantly on the number of messages. Hey, where's my tax return? Hey, where are we at with this? Which undoubtedly come the day after they give you the information. That's another conversation. But this is a great way to. It's very little, but goes a long way with the client. And with TaxDome, there's no additional effort needed from us outside to just set this up once. This is exactly how we're running things, and it's nice to see at the end all the ones that are in the final stage that are out the door. Yeah.
And so there's a couple questions in here about, so send message is a chat. It's going to send them a secure chat versus an email. And the other thing is that in the message templates, we now have the ability, we've had the ability, but wanted to highlight, and that's what's in this template, is all of these messages are going to be sent to the most recent thread. So your client is not going to receive 10 different messages in 10 different threads. It's going to be one thread is going to keep updating that same thread with the information. So it's like a iMessage. They're going to keep that same flow is going to get updated with this message. So first, they're going to see we've received your organizer ready. This is what you can expect. Follow up afterwards, working on your return. Follow up afterwards, your return, everything is going great. It's in review. And by updating the client on that, they have a better experience there. Actually, sneak peek as well. Within January, we're going to be adding in the ability to do a true pizza tracker, so to speak, within the client profile. So the client is going to, so you guys see this little thing at the bottom here that we used for this little manager review where you are. You're going to be able to have that on your client portal. So your client is going to be able to see exactly where they are you're going to be able to update that. We'll have more information in January, but your client will be able to see within the portal the status of their job at any point in time, and also remove that as well. So this is going to be a really big, exciting update. So I'm excited when that comes out.
That alone is going to get clients to go with your firm over the next. That alone, I think that is will really hit home with people, just to know where it's at.
I love the term pizza tracker too, because everybody knows everybody orders Domino's. They know exactly what we're talking about. So that's coming, but you'll be able to customize it. That's going to be in January. We're in final works on that, but you'll be able to have that, and we're super, super excited. Again, remember, providing your clients that peace of mind at every possible point. Okay, we've talked about here, you've got the draft has been done. The manager has reviewed it. Everything's hunky-dory. Everybody's happy. We're moving forward. We're in the final steps, right? The managers are no longer in the play. Repair is no longer in play. It's now on your admin oftentimes to do the final invoicing. And the reason why I mentioned the final invoicing is if you remember in this pipeline, you've collected a deposit of $250 in the beginning, but odds are you're going to get paid a lot more than $250 for the work that you're doing. So at this point, you're going to create an invoice for the balance. And we've set this up this way because, again, a lot of firms charge different clients different amounts. If you have a subscription, you don't need to do this. If you charge clients different amounts for one-off services, this is what you'd want to do. So we're going to walk you through exactly what you want to do for that final invoice and for the e-signature and how that works, and walk you through exactly those steps. Okay. And please, Michael, I would like you to interrupt me at any point when I'm talking. It's not just prompt. If anything you think I'm saying either resonates with you or you disagree with, or there, please feel free to interrupt me in terms of the actual process within your firm. This number is variable. You're charging clients different amounts and so forth, for this is a one-off tax service. What you want to do, you're going to want to invoice the balance. So you're going to click new invoice and then write out the amount that you're invoicing the client. In this instance, what we're showing here, you're invoicing the client total of $1,000 for the tax return, but you've already collected the $250 deposit. You put that in there. So again, it's clear. You're reminding the client that, hey, you've already paid $250 deposit. They're going to receive an invoice for $750. Now, the key thing here is you want to link that invoice to the job that you're working on. Because if you link the invoice to the job, that is going to create the dependency for that when that job moves to the next stage. Okay, so the job, you never have to track, hey, did the client pay me money? Hey, oh, can I e-file this yet? Did they pay me yet? You're never going to have to do that. Its job is going to be in the invoice stage until they pay it. And as soon as they do, the job will move automatically. Mike, does that make sense from a workflow perspective in terms of how that works? Or do you need to explain it differently?
No, in the past, we would bill, when I first started out, we would bill right upon delivery of the tax return. And yeah, this is great because you're not going to file a return without getting paid. And this just tracks that. And you can rest easy at night knowing you didn't miss it and you're not filing anything until you get paid. So wonderful feature. Yeah.
But you're also not just, so there's the rest easy, but you're not even thinking about it. You're not even paying attention to it because it's going to stay in that stage of waiting for the invoice. And now the same exact thing here. So in this stage, we're doing two things. We're invoicing and we're doing the signature. And if you notice the two, I went back a little bit. These are the stages that are being created. So at first, a task is being created for your admin to make sure you provided the end document to the file. Because a lot of firms, what they do is they upload it to a private folder, it's in review, and only then they share it with a client. So this is a task to make sure internal task reminding you to update to make sure the file is visible for the client. Second internal task is for the admin to create that invoice, what I'm talking about, that we showed in the next stage, and subtract the $250 deposit. The third one is to prepare the 8879. Again, these are all internal reminders for your admin to make sure this is what I need to do to get the job going. And your client is going to receive a message again as well saying, hey, your draft's done. Amazing. Everything's going well. It's again, send them another update to the latest thread. And it's going to send them saying, hey, what you can expect. You're going to get an invoice and an 8879. So you're conveying that to the client. Here, we've invoiced the balance. We've linked it to the job. So the job is not going to move until this invoice is paid. And now we're also going to request the signature. So in your tax program, that's where you create the 8879. You click print, you select TaxDome. You say, you can do the signature directly in this process as well. And you can link it to the job. So and everything can be done in that one step. So in this instance, what you're creating is, again, that dependency. This job will not move forward until the invoice is paid and until the 8879 has been signed.
Yeah, I love that you can attach it to jobs, like just link everything to the job. It's the same place. It's where the invoice is. It's where the actual documents are. It's where their organizer is. It's all just go to the job and you have it there and it moves along. And yeah, I remember the old days of having to open up Adobe Signature and drag in the person's name and then send it via email, and it makes me sick thinking about it. But this is just right there and done.
And are you guys using the signature template within your firm?
Yeah.
Do you guys know? Yeah, exactly. So you're not what that is the signature template for 8879. It's going to automatically populate those fields instead of you having to drag it in every time. So this entire process of preparing the 8879, you click print from your tax software, you select the client, you link it to the job, you say yes signature, you select 8879 template, and you click next. That's it. And that's all your admin has to do. They don't have to do they don't have to track it. They don't have to send manual emails, your signatures bins, everything is going to happen automatically here. And then here we just talk about another example of how you can, if you've already printed the 8079, maybe you forgot to do it from that standpoint. All you do is you right click and you click request signature from your Windows drive. This is just a workaround if you didn't do that. But the main thing I want to get across is by the time your clients get to the final stages, which are e-filing, every single thing has been done. You know that your client has signed your proposal. They've paid the deposit. They've completed the organizer. Your team has prepared the return. The manager has reviewed it. Your admin has uploaded the 8879 signatures, created the invoice. The client has paid the invoice. So all bills are paid. They've signed the 8879, everything is covered. And now your admin is going to get a task to go e-file the return. And your client is getting an update. Hey, everything's set. You guys are doing wonderful. And this is from a visibility perspective, I hope you guys can see how when you're not the one that's doing all this, but somebody else is doing it, or team members, you're able to feel confident that they're not going to miss any steps because everything is written out for them. At every single point, everybody knows exactly what they have to do, whether it's your team, whether it's a client. And you as a manager can feel confident that your process is being followed step by step at every point.
And back to the Kaizen technique, that this allows you to optimize those processes because you're the whole time, you have the whole time visibility what's going on, and then you can see, okay, this took longer as expected. Okay, where can we improve? So always remember optimizing.
One thing that I think is nifty that we do is we create specific custom fields within the TaxDome, within the account. And so what that allows us to do is if you're delivering Smith family 2023 tax return, we have a templated message for them that says, your tax return is now complete, and here are your results. And under the results, it has a custom field, and it just automatically, the message pulls the information from the custom field. And before we deliver the return, we put their results: balance due of 5,200, refund of 679. And so that way, when we deliver we enter that in, and then it automatically delivers the message, and it provides a little bit of value up front for them, and it doesn't take that much additional work for us. So, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Custom fields in all of those communications can have those custom fields, and it really allows you to textualize everything, right? So for example, like you mentioned with your refund, your balance, you might want to also have vouchers, right? Or your estimated payment dates. You can put those in there. And if they don't have an estimated payment, they're just going to receive it's not going to show up because the short code is blank. So that's the beauty of using the short codes there, because it's either personalized, or if they don't have it, it'll just be blank and they won't see it.
Exactly.
Awesome. So again, at every single stage, you've automated all the tasks that could be mundane, right? Sending emails, sending updates, because what's going to happen if you don't do this, you're going to update the clients in the first couple, maybe the first 50 or 100 clients in January. By the time you get to February or March, you're so underwater, you're not going to be doing any of that. You're just going to be skipping steps. So by automating it, you can ensure that the process for the client is seamless every single time. You have visibility at every step of the way. Right. So from a management perspective, you know exactly how many clients have signed proposals, how many clients have submitted their organizer, how many clients we're missing information from, how many clients were waiting to invoice the final amount, exactly where everything stands at every point. And clients, both from a client perspective and from team perspective, it's all the visibility is there and your team is fully kept in the loop. And finally, again, remember, you're not tracking anything. It's just done for you. So you only are looking at it from the standpoint of this is what it is. And anything that has to be done in the background, such as reminding people or pinging or double checking different things, that's done automatically by the system. You don't have to do that. Okay, so we've talked about this. How do you find the right templates, right? Where do you get this? We wanted to introduce the marketplace. So this template is in the TaxDome Marketplace. This is currently in early access and is going to be released to all firms very shortly. But the way you think about it is it's very similar to the App Store, Google Play Store, but for TaxDome templates. So not only are you able to see TaxDome templates in there, which again, this template is in there and you guys can utilize it. In the follow-up email, we'll include it as well. But you're able to have templates created by accountants, bookkeepers across the world, right? there's templates on everything. If you download a pipeline template like this, you download all the templates that are within there, but maybe you just want to download a proposal. Maybe you're looking for that. Maybe you want to download email templates. You can download whatever it is that you need. And it's really a place to share and promote all of these different templates. So everything from TaxDome is included, but everything at the same time, also creators are able to publish their templates in there. So if you'd like to be a creator, click the I want to be a creator button, and you can apply to be one. But what it allows you to do is to share your templates with the community. And when you share your templates, you're able to list them either for free, or you're able to monetize them by putting them for a price. And people can buy those templates in there. So again, very similar to the App Store, exactly the same experience. You can set how much you want for the template. People can look at it and they can say whether or not they want to buy it, whether they don't, and then they're able to just get it. It's seamless. They click the button and the template goes into their workspace. You don't have to do anything. If you're a creator, the money's going to go right into your Stripe account automatically, in the same way that it would if you were selling on Shopify or a different marketplace and so forth. So the benefit for all users is you have a great tool to find lots of templates across the globe, templates in different languages, templates for different services. And for those of you that want to become creators, you're able to publish your templates and put them out there. So we think that this is a really awesome step. We're super excited for this. And we've partnered, when it's released, some of our early partners already have listed their templates in there. So there are already templates in there from early partners that are early creators, and you can find their templates that are in there today, along with the template that we mentioned here. Okay. When you look at the templates, one of the things we wanted to really focus on is the content to make you sure aware of what you're doing. So we strongly recommend that all creators, you create videos, explain what's in this pipeline, right? And explain how it works, explain why somebody would want it. Michael, have you thought about becoming a creator? Is this kind of the first time we're introducing this to you?
No, I'm definitely planning on it, and we're in the process of creating the instructional videos. I think for anyone out there, if you do something that's unique, get it out there. And I know that with us, a lot of the tax planning that we do is very high level and unique. And we have a lot of processes related to tax planning, the strategies that we can use to save our clients tons of money. And so we're going to look into what are our best tax planning pipelines and templates and organizers. And we'll be publishing those with instructions. And of course, we operate in the US, so they're primarily for US accountants. But yeah, I think if you do anything that's super unique, or you just feel really strongly about what you've put together, it's a great place to post. Worst case, it's out there, and best case, you get paid for it. So it's a win no matter what, in my opinion.
And there's some questions about viewing the templates and so forth before to buy it. This is why the content from the creators is so important, in that if you're thinking of creating it, your videos and your explanation of why somebody wants to download the process or the template that you're providing them, you want to have really good content, the same of why somebody should buy this, right? You're convincing somebody why they should download this template, what's in it for them, so they can make an educated decision of that. And that's why the videos are so important, because it allows you to really convey the benefits of it versus just text.
Same for the proposals. Everywhere where you want someone to engage with your service or with your product, or in this case with a template, make sure that first of all, who you're talking to, who is your audience. And of course, the other thing is not only to sell the template, also guide them through how they can use it afterwards, and etc.
Yeah, exactly. And then for those of you, we have TaxDome consultants. So obviously, there are people who assist in customizing templates for your firm. There are people that assist in customizing processes for your firm. So we have a list of TaxDome vetted consultants that you can find. And if you're a consultant, we strongly recommend that you use this to share your templates with people, because that's also how they find you. And the better your templates are, the more people are going to comment on them and review them, and then they'll be vetted better. So in any natural ecosystem, the quality of the work is going to seep to the top. But the main thing we want to get across is that the TaxDome community is going to have access to a very, very broad list of templates that they can choose what works for them within there. And that's really the main benefit that we want to get across. And finally, so if you want to become a creator, click the button, and we can go into the Q&A. Our team has been really busy answering questions. Thank you guys so much for doing that. First off, thank you for Michael for being here, for sharing your thoughts, sharing your expertise. There's a couple questions from Michael. Are you able to see them in the Q&A in the beginning open? There's a couple questions here. If you can quickly address them, they're about your business practices that some people want.
The first one is from David. If you scroll up, do you see them,
Okay.
Michael?
Yeah, from David. I've not been tracking those as they've come out. Let's see. I have.
Here's the question is, I'd be curious to hear from Michael how he handles communications with clients, specifically mainly through email outside of TaxDome, all within TaxDome through messages, a combination of both or something else.
All through TaxDome chats. Occasionally, someone will forward me an email just because they're forwarding something that came to them via email. But the response is to them, hey, thanks for sending this along. We will start a thread for this in TaxDome. So, and clients are super, super open to that. Very easy. So I'd say 95% of it is done in there. We certainly never initiate anything outside of chats within TaxDome.
So in the template that's provided, once you download it, you'll see that there's email only in the beginning and the end of the email to convey what to expect getting started, because odds are if you're just starting a workflow, your client's not logged into TaxDome, right? It's January 5th. They're not just randomly logging in there for the chances are. Everything once the first one is then done through chat, and you can communicate that through your welcome email saying, hey, from now on, all the communications about your prep are going to be a secure platform, protecting your private information, making sure everything is secure, and you'll receive messages from there on. And then in the end, everything except the final review email, which is thank you for working with us, please leave a review, which again is in the template. Everything in between is in chats. So only the beginning and the end are in email in the template that we made. But again, you can customize it and modify it to your own needs. Michael, another question for you. How do you communicate the return on investment in subscription model? I think that's a big question, but if you can address that quickly.
Good question. I basically say that we use tax planning to basically wipe out their costs and give them, they'll hand us $1, we'll hand them back $2. And if I can prove that based on the tax planning strategies that we're going to use, then it really does sell itself. Now, it's not the easiest work to sell. People certainly give a lot of pushback, but I just tell them, look, we're going to be here, an extension of your firm. We provide you peace of mind year round, and we really handle everything for you. And if we can give you all your money back through tax planning, it's a match made in heaven. So we just got to find those clients, but that's how I do my best to sell it.
Okay. There's some questions about how would you use this as a single user with no staff? I would use the exact same thing. So I would the flow is exactly the same, except you wouldn't route the work to different people. You would route it all to yourself, and you'd probably be able to remove some of the subtasks, because you might not need a task for yourself to remind them to upload the document because you're doing that. So it just depends on how much you want checklists, because people are different, but you would do the exact same thing. You would just not route work to other people. You would do it yourself. But we strongly recommend doing the exact same thing that we described here, whether you're a firm of 1 or a firm of 50, the same exact principles apply. You need visibility. You need to communicate to your clients what to expect. You want to send them updates of what's going on, and you want to make sure that whenever a job is in any stage, you know that everything before then has been done.
There's a question, Michael, they ask you if you use TaxDome just for the tax side or for bookkeeping. I think you use it for everything, right?
Yeah, we have a monthly bookkeeping pipeline. So every month on the 2nd of the month, it triggers a task for our bookkeeper. Our bookkeeper has 8 days to do the updates, and then they mark it as complete. And then my admin downloads the reports and sends out a report that is an automated, a templated message before the 15th. So we do that. The other thing is the cleanups, which are always a pain. We have a bookkeeping cleanup pipeline, so we can keep track of who's still in the cleanup stage. And then once they're finished in the cleanup stage, they automatically get into our monthly ongoing pipeline. That's primarily how we use TaxDome for that. And it's nice because the job you can leave comments and questions. My bookkeeper can ask me questions and I'll respond directly in the job. And so it's very organized.
That's actually a great comment there in terms of use the comments in the jobs and mention, especially the bigger your team. That's a great way to bring someone into the conversation and saying, hey, just making sure you got this. We just got this new document in at prepare. Please make sure you added that in, or whatever it is that you're doing, but they're going to receive a communication automatically within there. So comments are something we definitely recommend to utilize a lot.
Yep.
Awesome. So we've got a lot of amazing questions in here. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you, Michael. Again, The pipeline template that we described here is in the marketplace. If you don't see the marketplace yet, because that means you're not in the early access community, it will be open to everyone very soon. So you can get started either right before or right after the new year. But this exact pipeline template, every single thing that we described is available to you. You're able to download it, you're able to customize it. But we really hope that at the end of this, you will have understood exactly how it works, and so that you are able to customize it to exactly your needs and add in additional things and so forth. So thank you all. Thank you all within this. Michael, any final words before here? I hope you enjoyed your time here.
Yeah, first of all, this is great. I'm just honored to be on here. And as you can tell, I'm really jazzed up about it because this has been so helpful to me in the past couple of years. Feel free to reach out. I'm on LinkedIn, Michael Flax, and feel free to reach out there. We'll be posting our templates so that when you get on there, you can use some proven templates and pipelines in the marketplace and hopefully enjoy the same benefits that we've enjoyed.